Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sweet Reality Kenya TV. Today we present the story of Gilbert Lukalia. Gilbert Lukalia is a renowned thespian, a film actor, director, name them. Hello, Bwana Lukalia. How are you?
Hello, I am glad to be here. Asante. Thank you for that big introduction.
Let us now hear from the horse's own mouth, now that the horse is here. Who is Gilbert Lukalia?
I know so much about myself from what people say about me and my works. Well, let's just say that I have never quite learned to, what's the word? To say much about myself, but I'll attempt it. Gibert Lukalia is a Kenyan passionate artist. Many people recently know me for film and acting and directing, but my journey actually starts from the theater. It's the theater that really honed my talent and harnessed my passion. I enjoy it tremendously. I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else doing anything else. I've been doing this since 1996, on and off sometimes, because the mind can get a bit overwhelmed, so you decide, oh, let me take a break a bit, and I've toured the world, traveled, to doing this, and that's really why I would encourage anyone who wants to do this to really pursue it, because this has really been a quite an awesome experience. Yeah. But basically, bottom line is, I'm an artist, passionate, probably more passionate than many other people. I can't be the judge of that, but yeah, extremely passionate. Yeah, thank you.
Your passion, Gilbert, is not probable. It is definite. Let's sample this. Art is man's constant effort to create for himself a different order of reality from that which is given to him. You quoted Chinua Achebe. Then, this is what you say. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. It is something you believe in, Gilbert. Tell us more.
Oh, wow. Chinua Achebe. May his soul rest in bliss. Really, this is an icon, and I have read most of his works, from The Things Fall Apart, where actually, to me, that was the foundation of my art, because I read this when I was in school, and the art is just too amazing. Yeah. I consider him my Aristotle, because the second quote is from Aristotle, and yeah, look, I'm passionate, and really I am passionate because I won't lie to you, I wasn't born like that. I did not come into the industry even in the first times of my practice and decided I'm going to be passionate, but it grew over time. And it's really been compounded by my travels. You would live in our own small village. We imagine kings and royalty in our small village until you move to the next village and you realize that there are other kings and queens and royalty, and you sit back and you're like, maybe just something you might not admit publicly, but you might confess if you're genuine and reasonable enough. You might just confess maybe they are better than you, but you don't stop there. You decide, I'm gonna be better. I want to do much better than that person who I think is better than me. And I think that's my experience. During my travels to Broadway many years back, New York, and I was there for months, courtesy of Sundance Institute. I saw art on a level that I did not imagine I would. And that changed how I see things, changed how I want to shape things, whether it's a play, whether it's a musical, whether it's a film, a short film, a documentary. It changes things, because to me, really, this journey and experiences have made me feel that life is actually corrected by art, that the things we do, in life, it is only art that can correct them. Actually, I usually say life is a mistake that only art can correct. That gives you a feel of the duty that has been bestowed upon you as an artist. It is not a small duty. It is not for any other person. I'm a surgeon with a scalpel, and my scalpel is art. And if I do not give this, I will somehow not alter somebody's life. And I think for me, Chinua Achebe and Aristotle and then many more, but those two guys, man, those are the epitome of good art. They're at the very helm. If you're talking about storytelling, if you want to talk about storytelling, it'd be a bit unfair to history if you didn't mention those two people, even if it's amongst another 100. But yeah, that's really, yeah. So I read a lot because of my passion. I watch a lot of stuff. I hear people. I listen to people, because that's what I think good artists do. You pick a few. You pick things as you go on. Look, I'm really going on and on about this, but yeah, I'm only doing that because of how I love it. I can go on forever. So let me stop there.
I really feel you, Gilbert, on Chinua Achebe and Aristotle. What about Frank Capra, whom you quote as saying, film is one of the three universal languages, the other two being mathematics and music?
A strange place to be at. It's new waters. They can sweep you. So you need something to anchor onto. And when I started focusing and putting more energies on film, automatically you want some things to make you believe in whatever you want to do more. And history is one of those things. Any film student will tell you that film history is important. Why is it important? It's because you know the beginning, the source, you know the advancements, you know the hopes and the ambitions of these people. And Frank is one of those guys that I stumbled upon when I was doing my film research and film history particularly. There comes this guy, did amazing stuff. When technology was not as advanced as it is right now. And I think he was born in the 18th century, I think late 1890 something, I forget. But yeah, so I just got very interested, read about his works. If you're lucky, you stumble upon 1, 2, 3 of his works, and you're looking at it and you're like, oh God, if this guy did this in the 40s or in the 50s, when there was no so much blah blah blah, imagine what they would do right now. Yeah, so yeah, I do a lot of that. I don't just want to to concentrate on the David Finchers of this world, and Kurosawa is people who you also want to study, if you're really into this, like vizuri sana, like some of us, because I want to know Spielberg, I want to know Tarantino, I want to know Francis Ford Coppola, but they too have fathers. They too have people who were there before them. So why not? Why not know about Frank and Orson Welles? Why not know about movies that were never released because they were struggling to film for years and years? Why not know about the Apocalypse Now? Francis Ford Coppola, that was short, it went, it wasn't released for so long, and then people started calling it, asking Apocalypse when, Apocalypse later, when, film history will enable you meet with such greats, and even theater, because many people, we do this, but there are people who don't even understand where thespian comes from. And to me, this is not knowledge that you attain so that you brag around with people. It just steadies your resolve. It gives you a foundation. To me, it is the foundation of my art, and I just feel it's important if I know it.
You give me a different feel of the Gilbert I know. Not so different, but I feel you when you talk about Broadway New York. You've traveled, and I feel I'm traveling with you. Kindly let us travel with you so that we know which places you've traveled to.
Traveling, I've traveled. I have traveled many places. First as for theater, and then eventually for film and film festivals. So let's just say I've traveled Turkey, Switzerland, Helsinki, New York, Italy, South Africa, Egypt. Like passports have been filled up, so like to say that for now, but I would really want to concentrate on my travel in New York for this conversation. For that young girl or boy who's probably listening to this and wants some little inspiration, let me just say this, that you think you know until you meet somebody who knows. You see, so here we are, a team of East Africans, handpicked almost, because we are the best around, so to speak. From, I think it was 3 from Uganda, 2 me from Kenya, plus another 2 dancers, and then there's Rwandese, Tanzanians. So here we are, and we are in this land, and we are given a ticket to a show every day, and when you're not doing a ticket, watching a show during the night, you're probably attending a rehearsal, and you're seeing things, and you're like, oh my God, I want to be there, because these are people who've really they're on another level. Basically, they are on another. I will not say they are more talented than we are, but I will say they have mechanisms that harness the talent better than we do. So we did workshops, we attended seminars, we attended rehearsals, and I remember some funny story. One day we went and watched, the way you were sitting in an auditorium, you're watching a play, I think it was a musical then, and then you sing this performance, and you're the 10 or 11 of you from East Africa seated in one row, and at some point of the play you find yourselves looking at each other with mouths wide open, and you're like, oh wait, how good is that? And I remember on that day we were headed back to the hotel, and this lady friend of mine from Dar es Salaam goes like, you guys, I really need to have a meeting with you guys, sit down when we get to the hotel. And she's doing it in that beautiful Swahili of, Tanzanians. And then we were wondering, what was she going to tell us? Does she have any information from our hosts or something? And then we get to the hotel and she sits us down at the lobby and she says, you know what, you guys, I've decided when I go back to Dar es Salaam, I'm going to get some what do they call it? Capital. Yeah, capital. I will open a vegetable shop and quit art because I don't think I can do that. Now, you can imagine what that art that we saw must have, the impact that hits you. Yeah. And luckily, even for her who said that, because we all laughed at it eventually, and she asked, I can't believe what I saw on that stage tonight. And she even was like, were those people or demons? And that summed up my experience. I was so used to doing this here in my own small way, in my own, creative way, and people would applaud me. People would be like, deadly, very good. And then I went and we saw these guys, and it feels like they get possessed, and they are there, and you believe them, and you look at the mastery of the art, whether it's the acting, whether it's the directing, whether it's the setting, everything. You go like, oh God, I want to go there. I want to be there. And there are only two things for me that can happen. You either give up or you decide I'm gonna, accomplish this. And even when it's hard, there's always a satisfaction of something small that has been done where everybody looks at it and says, oh, I could not have thought about it that way. And that's where I'm really doing. So it's really, we can talk about my travels and my experiences because I will only pick things that really were beneficial to my journey. Yeah, and there's a lot. From meeting directors, from out there who look at you and you're a first-time person in a film festival and they look at you and they're doing stuff, you're like, oh, and they wonder if you went to school, yeah. So really, it's a long travel. That is, look. I think my first travel outside this country for art was 1999. So and probably until maybe 2016, 17, at least every year I was out somewhere, experiencing something. So we might need an entire session for my travels alone. But yeah, Broadway was the ultimate. And I think I can confidently say that if it wasn't for this COVID and the lockdown and everything, we would have brought Broadway very close to Kenya. We're planning a collaborative musical soon, but that has stalled a bit because of the pandemic. Oh God, that's a lot of talk. Please cut some things out. I just want to. I just want to inspire where possible. So if you feel that it's a lot, please.
Gilbert, I called you so that we could talk a lot. Now, the first time I got into contact with you was when we were acting in Nairobi Law. Then I was a doctor, Dr. Mkoa, if you could remember, and you were a lawyer. I thought that was the greatest you had done before this story now. Kindly tell us your theater journey. Where did you start up to the time you are now traveling to Broadway and all those other places?
Every other artist who has done theater in this country, well, not all of them, but most of them, will tell you that many people start with school set books, and that's really where I started. At KIMC, Kenyan Institute of Mass Communication, Started there, did a play. There was a resident, sort of like, let me call it a resident company that was, being hosted there called New Star. I started there. I did a few plays here and there. Did not go very well in terms of consistency and profitability. And then, I moved on to seek other ventures. I went to the National Theatre. I auditioned there. I wasn't picked mostly for the first play, usually. Yeah, but I remember, I think it was the government inspector. Yeah, it was the government inspector. And I remember, just auditioning, and I left. And I wasn't picked. We had this routine where we would go to the National Theatre to check the notice board and see what's up, what's coming up, and if it suits you, if it doesn't. Yeah, so I wasn't picked. I stayed on, trying to, taking a few walks there, going, checking something, no, audition, try it, fail, go on. Then one day I receive a phone call, and I'm told one of the lead characters in the government inspector has dropped off, and the director recommends that I can easily fit them. And I took that as my grand opportunity. I decided from the moment I hung up that call, I decided I'm going to do this role like nothing else. So much that everybody who watches me will be like, oh, where did you come from? Who are you? Yeah, and this was the Kitambo, there were no mobile phones. So these phone calls were usually made from, well, luckily my father had a house line, those landlines, and that is how it happened. Yeah, otherwise, like every other artist, not okay. Let me not say like every other artist, because I know there are people who are very complacent, and they get into comfort zones and they get comfortable, and life stops, sort of. No, I did not like that experience. So I don't like being on a plateau. I'm either going up or rapidly descending. I think to me I live for that adrenaline. I live for that, new experiences and daring. I'm a very daring person. Even when if you watch my directing, if anybody ask any actor who has worked with me, or a crew member who has acted, they will tell you this guy is very daring. And sometimes I do things, and people I'm working with open their mouths, and I go, wait, are we sure we want to do that? And eventually it comes out, and people go like, okay, yeah, only he can do that. Anyway, besides, back to theatre. So I decided I'm not going to get comfortable here. I decided to do a few public plays here. I auditioned. I got lucky. Sometimes I'm not. But I remember at some point, and I think this is 1998, 99. I remember being like one of the most sought after theatre actors, and it would really get into my head, because now you're doing like 4 plays. You're rehearsing this one maybe in the morning, then you're rehearsing this at 2, and then you're rehearsing this other one at about 4, and then you have a play that is running from 6, and then you're like, oh my god, it's too much. Yeah, well, I look back at those days, and I say maybe that's the one thing that maybe I would not do again, because again, Waswahili wanasema mshika mawili moja mponyoka. So there's definitely something, however good you are, there's something that we will not give the best, because the focus is a bit, on and off here and there. But yeah, I did plays, public plays, and I went to Phoenix, and that's a very vital part of my journey, Phoenix, and especially the old man, our father, we call him, James Falkland, may God rest his soul. He changed me as well, and then I think that was because James was really the first person who felt I can direct theatre. and gave me an opportunity. And not just an opportunity to like, here, direct, no. He trained me. He took me to rehearsals where I was not working. He just called me and told me, hey, are you available to go for these rehearsals and watch how we direct, how we know? And he took me through 8 weeks of class. It was an experience. And then after that, opportunities start coming your way. I did a monologue. I went to Tanzania. No, actually I did a monologue, and then a friend of mine from Tanzania watched, and they believed that I can really help Tanzania grow artistically. And then I went there, worked briefly, came back, and then proposals were brought about, guys who should represent Kenya in New York, and there I was on the list. I will not say I was very surprised, because of the work that I had put in for years and years. And then there, I am very, I want to call it a blessing and also maybe a small weakness at the same time, because after my visit to Broadway, I was very cautious in anything I touch, because my expectations were very high. Yeah, so caution sometimes can make you not do things, but yet it also makes you do things very well. Yeah, so it might not be so surprising that I do not have that my theatrical experience before Sundance, New York, is very. It's more. I did more theater before than I have done after. Yeah, because really even after I decided I'm going to concentrate on directing and visual development of the concept and producing. And you see, directing comes with a few other needs for partnership. As a director, you must have a producer, and sometimes you sit down with a producer, you tell them your vision, and they go like, we'll contact you, and then you wait and wait, because basically they just felt that you are not dreaming on their same level. Maybe you are too dreaming. It's grand, but I've not given up hope. I'm not saying I will wait forever. No, because I've done things. I produced a show in 2015. I produced a big show, and I think it was I wasn't the director, I was just producing. I wanted to dare myself, jump in and see if I can pull the resources together, I can put the team together and share my dream and marketing and all that. And it was really, really well received. I hope I can do that again soon. Yeah. There's a lot. Theater people, how do I put it? There are two things that people really, really say I'm good at, even as a film director, and that is directing actors and storytelling, And you know what? All those two things, they come from theater. I draw that experience from. It's theater that has helped me work with actors. It's theater that have had me understand, storytelling and weaving. Maybe because we are lucky, maybe because during my time there were not so many Kenyan plays happening, so we used to get plays from out there. And when you pick a Shakespeare or a Bertolt Brecht or or Henrik Ibsen, that's a complete No, that's work that has been put to test for years and sometimes decades. So the storytelling is so done so well. If you read the government inspector, you'll be like, why don't they write comedies like this anymore? Well, it's not a comedy, satire, but yeah, you get my point. Yeah, and even blocking. I love blocking. I love movement, and that automatically comes back into, whenever I'm on my film set, I'm like, movement. How do I make the actors move in a way that the movement tells the story? Yeah, I have a very, very great respect for theater, and yeah, so I've been to it's called what, the Market Theatre in
You said to know film very well, you must know the beginning, you must know the source, so that you know film history. Let us now know Lukalia's history, because it's like your parents had looked earlier about their son. Where did you study? They must have taken you to very good schools.
school. Yeah, I'm always almost assured that whenever we talk about school, there will be other questions that come about. And yeah, but let me just answer it, and then I'm sure the questions will come. I went to school in Morrison Primary School in Bahati, Heshima Road, just no, Bahati Estate, Eastlands, Jogo Road, those sides. Um, did very well. My secondary school, I went to Moifos Academy. Yeah, and again, did very well. And then eventually I joined Nairobi University Chiromo campus. Yes, and I'm sure that is where the questions start coming. Chiromo campus, artist, and all that. Yeah, just so you know, I never did anything, or the only thing artistic that I did in my school life was, I think, when I was in class 4 or 5, where we did a choral verse for around the story of Joseph and his 12 brothers, or was it 11 brothers? Yeah, and his Technicolor dream coat. Yeah, the only other thing I did that is artistic in secondary school was singing. Yeah, I sing too, and I sing, I think, relatively.
So you expect questions to come. The first question, are you a dynasty? Because schools you went to. Secondly, what did you study?
well, no dynasty, no, not at all. Neither am I a hustler, no. Parents not rich, but not poor. Could afford us good education. They valued that, not just me, all my siblings. You remember about Frank Capra, the three universal languages, film, music, and mathematics. Yeah, that's what I studied. I went to study mathematics, and chemistry. I love mathematics. I still do mathematics. I wouldn't mind teaching mathematics.
I'm reminded of Frank Capra. Now, let us go to Anthony Hopkins, whom you quote as saying, "The art of acting is not to act. Once you show them more, what you show them, in fact, is bad acting." Maybe you would quote that better. Quote Anthony Hopkins, and tell us about that in relevance to the Kenyan acting scene. Do we have people who act more than they are supposed to?
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins is actually one of my favorite actors. The quote is, the art of acting is not to act. Once you show them more, what you show them, in fact, is bad acting. Okay? It's basically saying that acting must be believable. When you take up a role, we must imagine, we must believe you are that person. You know, we should ideally, you know, in jurisdictions that are very developed, artistically developed, an actor is so much protected. You know how? By not being allowed to mingle with everyday, people, all the time. I'm not saying never, but all the time, because it can be dangerous. We have experiences of where, actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger of Terminator and Sylvester Stallone of Rambo have been accosted by big bikers and, crazy guys who think what they saw in the film is that guy who can fight everyone. So they even dare you to a fight, and that is because they believed that guy is a fighter. One of my favorite films of all times, John Q. I remember when watching it, and 2000, I think 2004, 2002, or 2004, 2006, somewhere there. And I remember asking myself, how can such a rich guy, dollar millionaire, the most bankable actor right now in the world, Denzel Washington, he acts a poor father, and you cry with him. You cry, yet he's a millionaire, a rich guy. You know why? Because he is believable. And that's what Anthony Hopkins is basically saying, that if you act, then you show us more. When you show us more, then we don't believe you. Then we call that bad acting. Oh yes, there's a lot of bad acting in this country. There's a lot of bad acting in this country. You will struggle to find a program where you watched and you really believed so-and-so was a doctor, so-and-so was a lawyer, so-and-so is really a surgeon, so-and-so is really, you will struggle. Yeah, there are other dynamics, of course, in play, but I think that's something that we really, and it's really something I have wanted to put my energies on, training actors, because we really need it. We really need good acting, because good acting it's what makes a story. You might have the best script, you might have the most beautiful story, but if you have bad acting, which is a lot of acting, then we won't get.
Who is your best actor in Kenya, female and male? And who is your best director, female and male? That excludes you.
I really don't believe in best. Even when it comes to me, I don't believe in the best. Because again, you see, art is very specific. You might find an actor. I usually believe actors should be judged per performance, not in its entirety. You don't watch one performance by Gilbert Lukalia and then you decide Gilbert is the best actor in this country. Oh yes, it's possible that once you put my works together, then you can want to say, yeah, this guy is very. You see, like even Denzel Washington, I have feelings of sometimes I wasn't convinced. Well, here I was more convinced than there, and all that, But his body of works are really good. So that's why we like calling it, calling him excellent. Someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, Anthony Hopkins, it's really about the body of works. What we have. We do not have the privilege of a body of works in this country. Because our works are very spaced and scanty. If it's films, we rarely have it. I think it's only last year and the previous year that we had like over five local Kenyan films produced. Anyway, if I was put in a corner and with a very sharp knife on my throat, and I was asked to say who are the actors that I think are excellent, I would very easily point at someone like Bilal Moura, or like he calls him, Moura Bilal. I would point at someone like Justin Merici. Yeah. For ladies, I would easily point at a lady called Marian Nungo. I would also point at a lady called Mkamze Chawamwatela, and for directors, the best female director I know of is Caroline Odongo. No doubt. Nothing else will. I don't see anyone changing my mind soon about that. Best male director, I think I would easily go with Lukalia Wainaina.
Kindly touch on their productions so that people can identify them with those productions.
Bilal Moura used to concentrate so much in the theaters, but he recently has done a few films here and there. Most renowned, that is out there is 40 Sticks. He was in 40 Sticks. He also did Uradi and a few others coming up. Maybe I can't mention them right now. Was it Justin? Justin has done also a lot of theater, but his most recent one, I think he's on Crime and Justice. I don't know if it's a very big role, but he's a criminal lawyer in Crime and Justice. I think he was there in episode 1 and 2. Crime and Justice. It's showing on Showmax right now. Showmax original. Marian Nungo is a very rare actor. I think you might want to go as far back as Lies at Mind and stuff like that to know, but it just tells you the impact that she has had, and because I'm saying this with the confidence that many people will agree with me on her choice. Mkamze, same thing. Mkamze, you will have to go back to productions like Mali and Siri to see her. Directors, Carol Dongo is currently directing Selena, has been doing that for a long time. She has other works. She was also in Block D. I think she was part of the Lies at Mind, maybe directing, maybe writing, because I know she also does writing. I can't remember vizuri sana, but Lukalia has also done a lot. I think his most recent work was, I think, an episode in Crime and Justice as well. Is it episode 5 or 4? One of those. But he has also done a few shots here and there. Was part of the first directors of Kina. And I think he's also done Antibo, some of those. But those are some of the works.
Say something about Mission to Rescue.
Mission to Rescue is film coming soon. I did sometime last year in March. We should have released it actually, but lockdown and stuff like that, COVID and all that. But it's coming soon. It's a military story around the Al-Shabaab and the Kenya Defense Forces. I'll just say it's a beautiful story. It's a good film. We've done daring things. We've, action, fight sequences, explosions. Yeah, I think it's one of those films that we hope Kenyans will look at and maybe look at us differently. I know they trust us, but maybe this one will just lift us to a good level. I hope and pray. Yeah. The film is produced by a company called Foxton Media. I directed it. It was an awesome experience.
Now that you've ascertained that you are a dynasty right now, or you are creating a dynasty, who are the members of your dynasty?
Oh, I'm so sorry. How could I forget? Likayon is a director for Supermodel. Yeah, that I don't know how that escaped my mind. Yeah, but he's a director, the award-winning director for Supermodel. And I feel I need to say this. I am being a bit fair. I don't know that word. I'm trying to be a bit fair to us and to each other, because somebody like John C.B. Okumu, I don't feel I can rate him anywhere amongst us, because that guy is on another level. And there are many, people like Mumbika Igwa, they are of that generation, even before me, years before me, and they are excellent. But the names I've put out there as names that let me say, relate to every day, and so it's easier to remember them, because John C.B. will do one thing in 2 years, but he will do it excellently. Watch out, like Crime and Justice, the first episode, you will see. What? Oh God! What exactly do you mean? The people I would love to work with, or the people I am working with a lot? Please be clear.
Tell us about your family, Gilbert. It's family I'm talking about. That is the dynasty you're creating.
Family, well, dynasty, family, I still do not know what you're talking about. But the little that I will say is that I'm not married. Yeah. I'm not married. That's all. My family. I am surrounded so much with my work, but I feel that's the family right now. Look, I have brothers, sisters. My parents are, I'm lucky my parents are all still alive. But my work is my life. Yeah. I have a son. Yeah. But at the moment, I feel there are bigger things to achieve, and to do that I might need a bit more of a serene atmosphere, and maybe I create that on my own.
I get that, Gilbert. Now, much of the people you had mentioned earlier are out of the local films and theater actions within Kenya. Later on, you realize that we have other films that have not been well seen in Kenya. Take the example of The Constant Gardener, The First Grader, Leo the Movie. What is it that we should do as we finish up? What is it that we should do to make the good movies be seen by Kenyans? They are made in Kenya, but some of them are not seen in Kenya. What do you say?
Oh, Oh my God, that's a question that cuts me so deep. You have no idea. Because really, what more do I want? What more would a performer or an expressionist want if not to be seen, if not that their work are consumed and audiences, hey man, this is a huge topic, bro. And I think it is the ultimate. If we do manage to hack this, then the people who will come after us will just flourish in the bliss of, like just, art produce. You have no struggle, no, you want to do whatever you want to do, because whenever there is a market for you, and I'm not assuming for one moment that there is no market. I'm just saying that we have not done so much. It hurts me that I know people who were even actors who were in the Constant Gardener, but I've never watched Constant Gardener. People like Sidede Onyulo, great actors, the late, But anyway, I'll try to respond to your question, brilliant question, by saying this. There is no art without culture. What we have not worked hard to develop is the culture of people watching our shows. Right. That's a culture we need to inculcate in the young people from very tender age. You see, human beings are creatures of routine. There are things that you and I will keep doing because we did them 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and we felt they are proper. Yes, even if we do adjust them, we will adjust them, but it's almost the same template. It's still the same thing we're doing. So this is what I feel. I feel like producers, okay, let's start from where it starts. We feel like writers, producers, directors need to concentrate on creating content and thinking of the very local market. Cinema mashinani, schools, churches, other institutions generally. Yeah, how I wish that my next film would be shown in my hometown of Bukhungu, of Kakamega, and do a screening in Bukhungu Stadium. How I wish that from there it would go to Eldoret, then go to Kimilili, then go to Kisumu, then go to Voi, then Nyeri, then on. You see, that way, the next time I make a film, if they loved this first experience, the possibility that they will buy the second experience will almost be automatic. And if every director, every production would do that's so much that every year, there are about 20 Kenyan films that are screened in my hometown of Kakamega. Then I think we'd really go somewhere. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think that's where we should go. Maybe start with schools. Maybe just do a film and showcase it in schools and make it a culture such that every institution, every secondary school or even primary school, they watch 2 Kenyan shows, 2 Kenyan films every term or 3. I think those boys and girls, once they get out of school, they will what's the word is they will keep going on with that culture. This is something that we can talk about forever. This is something that really needs a contribution of all the stakeholders in the industry. And this is something that can really change the landscape of the...
As we wrap the show, Gilbert, what can you tell the Kenyan artists or the Kenyan art scene?
There are many things I'd love to say, but maybe 2 or 3. Number one, I'll just say technology technology has advanced immensely in so much that we cannot do the business of film the same way we do the business of a village kiosk. And in this case, the village is Kenya, right? And I'm not saying that we don't make stories for Kenyan audience, but we might want to just throw in a few other things that will make our product be consumed across the border, across the borders, across the region, across the continent, and worldwide. Because really, you see, YouTube is such that I put something today, somebody from Thailand, someone from Peru, someone from Estonia will access it. It matters that I use an expression that they relate to. It matters that I tell a story that they can believe. And there are very simple ways of doing that. There are things that bind us all as human beings. Love, hate, betrayal, hope, ambition. No, there are very many. Yeah. Let's really get out of our comfort zones. Tusitosheke na mafanikio madogo madogo. Yeah, and then put in the work. Let's just put in the work. Let's keep working. Tusitosheke. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. Yeah. Lastly, for our audiences and viewers especially, bear with us. As we grow, we might do a few things that you might not appreciate, and especially because you now consume products from our competitors who have done this for hundreds of years, but just bear with us. Give us the good feedback. Tell us the truth. Actually, just tell us the truth. Tell us I did not believe you. Tell me I did not believe you. Tell me that's a fake. Tell me, yeah. Don't tell me keep doing. Let's not also. Let's not all be about positivity. Even that negative feedback, just find a way of not making it insulting, but tell me anyway, because we cannot live and correct our mistakes if we do not know them. That's all really for now. And together we can grow this industry such that your kids and my kids who want to express themselves this way will thrive, and comfortably so. Amen.
Amen. Viewers, that was Gilbert Lukalia talking about art in Kenya and his history. This has been presenter Otieno Isaiah for Sweet Reality Kenya TV. Thank you so much, Gilbert, for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and maybe hopefully there will be more to come, where we can even talk about my upcoming projects and everything, and even sit down and have conversations with fellow artists, and on how we want to grow this industry and develop from where we are right now, so that it's not, we're not always sitting down to point out the challenges we do have, but also we offering solutions, because we really have some suggestions to solutions that we want to offer. I really thank God for the platform that you've given me, and I pray that God blesses you and this platform to grow immensely and keep doing the good work. Inspiration is priceless. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert. Thank you so much, viewers. More are yet to come. Just subscribe to Sweet Reality Kenya TV for more. Thank you.